Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to yet another episode where we are leveling my human rogue, and this time we are leveling from level 24 to 25. So today I thought maybe we could talk a bit about cresting in WoW Classic compared to the more new versions of it. I haven't played the newest versions. I quit playing WoW retail about 4 or 5 years ago. I think the last expansion I touched was the Warlords of Draenor, and I quit very early on in that one. The whole time travel thing got a bit too far for me. Anyways, that was not the point. So the reason I wanted to talk a bit about cresting is that in this video there will be quite a bit of walking, at least parts of it. And walking is usually because of either you need to go train, or you are picking up quests or turning in quests. And in the newer versions of World of Warcraft, questing is a bit more streamlined, in the sense that, for example, when you go into dungeons, usually you pick up the quest for those dungeons in a nearby quest hub, or even inside or just outside the dungeon. Take Dead Mines for example. There's quests to pick up. There's a whole chain you can do in Westfall that moves you around Westfall, Red Ridge Mountains, and back to Stormwind. There's also quests you can pick up in Stormwind. And I think there's even quests in Ironforge. That may be for Stockades though, but the general thing is that, especially when you get to the higher levels, that you can find quests for these dungeons in places you wouldn't look. And there's pros and cons to that, because it makes it harder for the player to experience all the content, I suppose, because not everyone goes out looking for these quests. Some people would go online and check, where can I find these quests? I'm probably that person. But it also encourages exploration though, and I think it's a nice feeling that you walk around and suddenly you pick up a quest and you're like, oh, that's for this instance. Like, for example, as I mentioned, there's this extra quest you can get for Stockades that you pick up in, I don't remember if it's Ironforge or it's actually in one of the smaller towns outside Ironforge. I can for the life of me not remember the names of those right now, but the point is that you can really go far to find quests. You can kind of get around the world. You can go to the one continent to get a quest for the other continent. And if you just want to level fast, I can see that being annoying, but kind of think it adds some depth to the world. That you kind of have storylines going across continents. At least I think that's pretty cool. And I think that's a difference, at least as how I remember it, compared to the newer versions. So the newer versions went a bit more, your quality of life, you could say, right? A bit more casual, in the sense that content became more readily available for everyone. So what's going on screen right now is me trying to find a weapon on an auction house, and I can't remember if I find anyone. Usually it's about money, right? You need to find something that is economically feasible, and you don't want to buy something that is too low level. Yeah, if you just quickly noticed, we were in the bank, and you could see that I have a ton of meat in the bank. Actually, I just took some of it out because I realized I couldn't use it anymore. And it's because I'm leveling cooking, so I'm kind of saving all the meat that I'm finding, so my bank kind of looks a bit like a slaughterhouse. So to the point of the quest, notice that now we are going back to Northshire Valley, Northshire Abbey even, and to turn in a quest. So this is the newbie area where you start up. And it's kind of, I suppose for newer players it would be weird to have to go back there with a high level quest, or a somewhat higher level quest. And although all the walking is quite tedious, I think it adds flavor to the world, and I think that's important as well, and that is part of the classic experience that I remembered and was looking for again. So anyways, now we are back here in Darkshore, and as you can see, there's still a lot of walking going on. But notice here I'm actually picking up a herb, because I'm doing herbalism and alchemy on this guy, if you haven't already noticed that. And I think alchemy really helps out. Notice that I almost always have healing potions on me, and I'm basically at this level range just farming for Briarthorn and Bruceweed. Well, not really farming, but I pick up all the Bruceweed and Briarthorn that I can, because that's what I need to make the healing potions. And this also allows me to, notice I just popped a healing potion there because I got more aggro than I expected. So it saves me a lot of times. And to that point, even though I don't have that many bandages right now, I think that first aid is also very important in Classic. It can really save your life. So doing a gouge, even though I haven't improved it on this guy, you still get like 3 ticks, maybe 4 if you're really lucky, of bandages that can also save your life in a tight spot. So notice here again, I have these debuffs as I mentioned last time. And sadly there's not really any, not to my knowledge, any potions that can cure these diseases. That would have been awesome though, at least not in this level range, but I don't think there's any cure disease potions. But these diseases actually, I noticed something while running around here, that there's actually a surprising lot of friendly people around. So all the classes that are able to dispel these things happens quite a lot. That when you pass someone, they either buff you or they try to dispel your diseases, which I think is amazing. I think there was like one case where I actually directly asked a guy to dispel me. So yeah, we just died there, but not too far from the graveyard at least. Yeah, so I think there's ever been only one case where I actually asked a guy for it, and I had like quite a few stacks of these debuffs, and I met the guy, he was doing stuff, I was like, can you cure me? And he did. And I really appreciate that. So I kind of make it a point that if someone buffs me or cures me or whatever, I try to thank them, you know, just common courtesy, either by sending him a whisper, but usually I just do the emote stuff, because I kind of like that immersive part of the game. I think it's important with the small courtesies, especially so close to a launch, because there's so many people, so many contested mobs, especially the named ones. And I think that sometimes would bring out the worst in people, so I'm pleasantly surprised when I meet kind people like that. And also it actually happens when there's a camped mob that people invite you to a group. I try to do that as well, but I'm not necessarily that good at that, because I don't always think about that. I'm just there, okay, I need this mob, and then I just wait for it and try to tag it. But it's actually nice that some people actually try to form groups, and I should get better at that myself. Because if 5 people are waiting for the same mob, you can group up 5 people and get it, rather than 5 people killing it one at a time. And I even heard cases where people actually organize that they're queuing up, like if different groups are waiting for a spawn, then they actually do queues, and people to some extent honor these queues. I know there's some that are just like, yeah, first come, first serve, and, you know, just tag at the first, even though you're not the first guy at the spot, but I don't know, I think common courtesy goes a long way. This applies to both real life and in the game, and I think especially in the game, because it's easier to take the, you could say, wrong decision behind the screen, as there's few consequences compared to doing that in real life. So if you take a look at what goes on screen again, then right now I'm killing off these different kinds of ghouls, just to get the ghoul fangs. And if you look at what level these mobs are, these are basically level, yeah, they are too high level for me actually, and as a rogue you usually shouldn't be killing mobs that are too much higher level, because it's just inefficient. And I think that counts for many classes, but I think especially the rogue. So what I'm doing here is not really that efficient, but that's the thing, I'm not an efficient leveler necessarily. I tried to optimize some things, right, but I felt for doing this quest while I was in the area, so I kind of just went and did it. If you also notice, I have this Pick My Venom Spider quest. I think I'm actually headed out to try to do it now. And I was struggling a bit with that, not because these mobs are hard in any way. It was more hard to find the mobs, and I've been at this quest a few times. You can see I already have 10 of them. And it's because the spawn rate. I don't know if the spawn rate is just bad, or I've just been unlucky that a lot of people had them farmed. But basically, they are only spawning near the coast of the zone, near the river, you could say. And I even think that there are other spiders that kind of are placeholder spawners for those, so that reduces the spawn rate even more. At least that is what I assume, but maybe there are some of you brainier guys out there that actually knows how this works. So we are moving into the last part of the movie. I think there'll be a short while until we level up yet. You can see the XP bar is still missing a bit, but we're probably gonna go and turn in a few quests soon. But actually I would like to say that I kinda enjoy doing these commentaries on top of this stuff. It's quite fun to see. Well, I basically recorded everything myself, but when you're looking at it without actually being interactive with it, you're not playing it. You actually notice stuff you wouldn't otherwise notice while you're playing. And that could be stuff from the chat, or near misses with a mob that you didn't realize you almost got you, or something like that. So if there are things that I'm blatantly missing and you're thinking, why didn't he see that? Don't hesitate to mention it, because I find it funny myself when I'm looking at this footage and I'm like, how could I miss that? And I might not even see it while doing this, because this is also way faster. Anyways, I would also like to ask you guys, is there anything interesting you want me to talk about here? I suppose, related to the game. Feel free to come with your suggestions or ask any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. You can leave anything in the comments down below. Also, if you have any suggestions on how to do leveling at certain levels, do feel free to leave that as well, because I would enjoy any advice. I do look up a few videos and stuff in some cases to see where can I like level more efficiently and stuff like that, but usually I just go in my own pace. So actually what's going on screen right now is actually true to my point, because last episode I was killing off these skeletal horrors and now I'm back here again because I need this Rot Blossom. I suppose I could have optimized my questing by combining these two quests and doing it all at once, but I prefer to do it like this, I suppose. So anyways, it seems we are getting really close to that level up now, and there it is. Awesome. So remember, if you like what we're doing here, please do leave a like down below, it really helps. And if you're new here, you should really consider subscribing to tag along. There's also, I do this Minecraft Let's Play series where something really mysterious is going on right now, so if you're into that, you should consider subscribing as well and tag along to watch that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see me in the next video.